Okay, hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Carrie Rolled On Show, where we spend 30 minutes or so a week having conversations that really matter to the mompreneurs' mind, body, and business. I'm your host, Carrie Rolled On, and I'm a wife, a mother, an author, a coach, a personal growth junkie, a fellow mompreneur, and your total business BFF. I help busy mompreneurs who are ready to spread their wings, to leverage their unique gifts so that they can make an impact on the world and help their families as well. I'm also an avid runner, and I believe it to be an essential practice, not just for my health and fitness, but for the health of my business as well. Now, to learn more about that, you can download my free report, The 5 Reasons You Can't Afford Not to Run, at freereport.runyourselfhappysystem.com. Okay. So I created the Carrie Rolled On Show because I have stumbled and continue to on my entrepreneurial journey, because the road to success has been full of potholes, of detours, of dead ends, not to mention self-doubt, fear, worry, debt, marital tension, and personal struggle. And I really wanted to share what I continue to learn on my journey in the hopes that it'll help others too. You guys, I believe in the mompreneurial dream, and I want to support others on the journey. So today's topic is one I think you're really going to enjoy. It is stop worrying about money and start attracting it. And who doesn't want to do that? So I don't know about you, but I have wasted many years worried about money. If you happen to catch my interview a few weeks ago with Roben Hand, you know that money has always been an issue for me. And I know that I am not alone. Oh, you guys, I'm reading my intro and I got all jumbled. Here we go. Okay. So I really have. I've wasted so much time and energy and just put so much into thinking about, where's my next dollar coming from? Is there going to be enough? I don't know if there's going to be enough. These thoughts were constantly running in the background for me for a really long time. I've just always been worried that there wasn't going to be enough. And this was so frustrating to me because I also knew that by vibrating at the frequency of worried about not enough, that I was just creating more worry about not having enough. And while I totally understood the concept, right, I got it, that I needed to vibrate at a different frequency. I understood the law of attraction. I found it difficult to actually do that. When I would think the thoughts that I was supposed to think, my body would react differently. I would have this visceral fear response. So I recognized that simply understanding the law of attraction couldn't get me to the abundance that I sought. And then I met today's guest, Cynthia Carrere. We met as the result of a serendipitous phone call and have been fierce friends ever since. This week, Cindy and I are going to get real in the conversation around money. We're going to talk about what's stopping us from connecting the money that we're intending to manifest. I call this the money in ethereal escrow. And we're going to delve into the real reason that so many of us don't have enough money. I know that there are a lot of people who do tremendous work around money, but Cynthia has a distinct advantage. She's an intuitive money healer and can see money blocks. Yep, she can see your energy grid and help each and every one of us to heal the energetic blocks that we carry that just may be repelling the money we're trying to attract. So you bet your butt I'm looking forward to this one. So let me give you Cynthia's bio. Cynthia is an intuitive money healer and works with heart-based women business owners who are ready to start attracting money and stop worrying about it so they can just do the work they came here to do. She's the author of The Real Reason You Don't Have Enough Money, What You Don't Know About Your Energy Grid Is Costing You, which you can download for free, and I highly recommend that you do, at healyourgrid.com. She also has a pretty incredible story to tell. So since we only have a half hour and I've been jabbering on and on, let's dive right into this important conversation. So, oh, I'm doing all weird stuff on my computer. So Cynthia, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm waving at her. See, I told her I was going to use the cameraman app, and then I'm not using it. Oh, boy. Okay, so you're welcome for having you. So I have my first question for you is I just mentioned that you have an incredible story to tell, and I also know that most entrepreneurs, we wind up teaching what we most need to learn. So do you find that that's true for you, and what's your story?
Oh, absolutely. We definitely end up teaching what we most need to learn. And my story is as amazing to me. One day in April, it was just an ordinary day, and at least so I thought. And suddenly, without any kind of warning, I got what I can only call is a download or a gift from the heavens, from God, to be able to see what was shown to me as the energy grid. And it was like I was a computer that did not have this capability. And suddenly, this program was installed in me, and within 30 minutes, I was able to do new functions. And what I can see are people's individual personal energy grids, which are a bunch of vertical and horizontal lines of light. It's very much like a latitude and longitude on a map. So through these coordinates, I can actually see where people are blocked, and so the energy tries to travel and get through, and it can't, or where there's absolutely gaps of grid missing, and so the signal can't connect at all, and it gets dropped.
Okay, so I'm going to just take a detour in our conversation right now, which I have been known to do. And I recognize that I still have you on the screen. Can you guys tell I'm kind of excited about this? I'm like all out of sorts. Um, so I wanted to take a detour right there and talk about that for a minute. So you say, so this is curiosity talking, because for those of you who don't know, I've worked with Cynthia quite a bit, and I've done a lot of work on my grid, and I've never asked this question. So if you're looking at me right now, I guess I have two questions. One, looking at me right now, can you see my grid? And can you look at me without seeing my grid?
Yeah, it's something that I do when I'm now working with people on a session. It's not something that I want to have happening all the time, or it'd be a little cuckoo crazy making. And it has to be done with someone's permission. It is like X-ray vision, being able to see the skeletal system. So, when I'm looking at you, I intellectually know that you have bones and a skeleton, but that's not what I'm seeing. I'm seeing, your face and whatnot. But in the energy field, now it's not like seeing auras. I've never been able to see auras, and I still can't. But when I'm working one-on-one in a session with somebody and I have their permission, then I'm able to go in and I help light up that energy grid with that person, so we can start connecting the dots, literally. Connecting where there's blockages, so that energy and the energy of money doesn't have pathways to travel. So, for instance, like a subway needs track to travel. When somebody has missing grid, the track stops and the energy can't get through.
Okay, so this is super interesting to me because I think one of the first times you and I worked together, you actually recognized that I did have missing components in my grid, like I had a hole in my grid. And it actually happened to be in a space, right? It was like right where I experience anxiety. And that was so comforting to me to recognize, oh, no wonder I literally thought I've always felt that emptiness. I've always felt the hole there. I just didn't quite have a word for it. And so anyways, that's my anecdote about that. Moving on. So this is intriguing to me and interesting to me, and I know that you describe it really well in your book, which I want to plug for you, and I continue to plug. It's the real reason that you don't have enough money. And I read this book, I think I've read it 3 times now, but the very first time that I read your book, and I described this to you already, I felt this like overwhelming peace and calm. It was like the energy from the book had just like filled me up, and I had a whole, it wasn't like a forever change, but I had a whole like day and a half where I recognized, ooh, this is what I'm supposed to feel like all the time. So I wanted to share that with you, and then I also just wanted to ask the question, right? Okay, your book is called The Real Reason We Don't Have Enough Money. What is it? What is the real reason we don't have enough money?
That's a great question. And working with enough people, the details from person to person absolutely vary. I mean, what happens to somebody in their early childhood is different. But what the patterns are, the people who have a healthy, intact energy grid around money differs very much from someone who has a damaged energy grid. And so the patterns, almost every client and every person that does have issues around money, they're going to have either big gaping holes and blockages. And so to really illustrate this briefly, a problem is one of two things. A problem is either having something that you do not want or wanting something that you do not have. And in general, if somebody has both inner and outer resources, that isn't really a problem, because if they want a car and they don't have one, they just go get it. Or if they have a little excess weight and they want to lose it, they just make that decision and they go eat right and go to the gym and lose it. Or even if they're single and they say, yeah, I'm ready to have a relationship, they have that inner confidence to just go out there and meet somebody. So really what a problem is feeling powerless to change it. So if you have something that you don't want and you don't seem to be able to get rid of it, that feels really bad. And if you want something like money and you haven't been able to get it and you feel powerless to change it, that feels really icky too. So what I've been discovering is that the root of this powerlessness is the clues in the grid. So I have found that these are they're not all of them, but they're very, very common. I don't know if you can see this or not, if that's helpful.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so the things that you have that are unwanted are the blockages. And so that's shame, guilt, resistance, DNA generational stuff, limited beliefs, feeling like you're not enough, and everyone around this area has that awful voice that says, who do you think you are? So those are the major blockages that come up. And then the gaps, and you said it right, you felt like there was something missing, and people use the terms like, I just feel like I have a hole in my heart. That's actual language in the energy realm. So the gaps or holes in the grid are things that are wanted but are missing. And these are so important. So approval, permission, worthiness, deserving, recognizing one's own value, confidence, trust, and self-love. So these are energies that tend to be missing. So if you're trying to connect with your money, but somewhere in your unconscious there's a lack of permission or approval, even though your grown-up adult mind is dismissive of that, every time there is something missing in that realm, and once we can help fill that in, people are able to connect with their money.
Okay, so I want to talk about those things because it's a little hard to do this interview because I've worked so closely with you, Cynthia, but you've just hit a lot of the things that had I been sitting in this chair interviewing you and not having ever worked with you before, I would have been like, oh yeah, that's really true. Yeah, I get that. I've read lots of books on that. Or yes, I understand that process. I know it. Or maybe I would have thought, okay, yeah, okay, that's good, right? I need to work on, there seems to be, I didn't write them. Oh, guilt and shame. Okay, so I recognize that I have issues with guilt and shame. But the thing that has been amazing for me, and I think this is a big thing, right? That's the subtitle of your book. What you don't know about your energy grid might be costing you, right? Is that I didn't know that I was carrying generational stuff. I didn't know, like I may have been cognizant of okay, I recognize this. But like for me, this is a recent discovery in my energy grid. Cindy and I have discovered that I had this thing where I needed permission. So even though like Cynthia just talked about, right? Even though I understand I'm a grown woman, this is like, 2014. I had to look at my watch to figure that out, by the way. That, I don't actually need permission from my father or from my husband. That I was carrying that was still in my grid. So I think what I'm asking you to talk about that is how you can see what we can't. And I think I'm really curious about the process, because I think luckily luckily I'm just willing to play. I'm willing to try stuff, and I'm very interested. But I'm thinking, as someone watching this, I might be feeling like, well, I'm not sure I want her to see everything that is going on. So can you maybe talk about that?
Well, if a person doesn't want it seen, that's their complete business, and that's like I said, I don't just turn it on willy-nilly, and I'm very respectful about it. And so far, all the clients, everybody who's there, there's just such a sense of trust. And when the person isn't as attached to their story anymore, when they're really ready and willing to let that stuff go, because it's become more important that they share their gifts and talents with the world, and they just want to show up and be authentic and make money doing it. There's nothing wrong with being supported to put food on your table and a roof over your head, and then to be able to share generously with others. So when people get tired of carrying that generational shame and pain and the old school stories around with them, they just show up, and it's like almost shedding the outer layers of the skin. I mean, we shed skin all day long, and it doesn't hurt us because we're not even consciously aware of it. But if someone were to try to, take a second or third layer off when it wasn't ready, it would hurt. So this is helping a person just gently release what it is that they're ready to let go of. So it's virtually painless. I mean, you'll feel some inner shifting, and you might feel the moment, but then it's released, as you can talk about.
Yeah, I think I'd like to talk about that, because this is right. One of the things, oh, let me put myself on the screen. How's that? One of the things that, I am leaning more into, right, and my book is about the mind body stuff and connecting with your own body. And that has been the pleasant surprise. I think I can't even say it was a surprise. It's just one of those things that it's like, it, but now I'm experiencing it in such a different way that all of the stuff that's in my energy grid, not all of it, but so much of it, I'm carrying around in my body, and I'm experiencing it in my body. And and I think what I'm learning, right, is honestly, I did expect, like, oh, sweet, I will have this session with Cynthia, and she'll clear the block to money, and it'll show up. I'll have millions like by tomorrow. This is going to be great. Oh, I just spilled my water all over my wood floor. Um, that's just kind of how today's going. But what I found is exactly what you're talking about, is that my higher self has some serious wisdom, and that new things are like, I'm letting go of things a layer at a time, and as I do, I'm feeling what it feels like in my body to integrate the higher energy of abundance, which doesn't feel, I'm going to let you talk about that. It doesn't always feel like what I would expect it to feel like, but as I do that, it's showing up in my life. So I don't know, I got really distracted with the whole spilling of the water thing. So here's what I'm going to do, Cynthia. I'm going to put you on screen and let you answer that, and I'm going to run away and get a towel really quick, but don't worry. I will be able to hear you.
Okay. She did say something important, that we've all heard of the law of attraction, and it's about where your home frequency is, what you vibrate at a daily rate, and it may be lower than the money or the experiences and people and places that you want to attract. So what this work does is to help you let go of the things and the lower vibrations that aren't working for you anymore, and to help bring in the higher energies so that you can integrate them. But I always thought, before this download, that the higher top shelf energies of love and gratitude and appreciation and joy would feel so amazing to my body. But I discovered that my home frequency, my home vibration, was lower than these higher energies. And so my body had kind of a funny reaction to them, because my body interpreted the higher feelings as anxiety, as something foreign. So to me, it was like somebody who was used to a junk food diet who suddenly started integrating organic, healthy, wholesome food, that it just takes a little while for the appetites to switch. So when the blocks are released and the higher energies are brought in, it helps raise your vibration incrementally so that it stabilizes. Because what happens is a lot of time we have our home frequency and we remember, oh yeah, I'm supposed to say an affirmation and I want to vibrate and attract something. So you'll do it for a couple minutes and then, or try to for a whole day and realize it's not sticking, and you'll just go back to your regular self. But this helps move up the scale so that you stay there, that it gives a foundation and stability.
So I just want to attest to that and share what has been happening for me just even in the recent weeks, I would say in the past 2 weeks, is it has been, I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that this is my 5th show and my 2nd one about money. And I think that's right. I'm an entrepreneur because I want to earn more money. I feel like I would like to have a better life. I think that's the right word, right? I want to be able to experience abundance on a way that I don't see as being possible if I just had stayed a high school teacher. And so there's that. Like, clearly money is important to me. It's part of and I believe that earning a lot of it is something that is meant to happen in my life. I remember, oh gosh, the very first time I did life coaching, the person, when I was coached, the person who was coaching me sent this questionnaire, and on it, one of the questions was, what has to happen in your life? Like, before you die, what has to happen? And I felt so, I had a reaction to writing this down, but I'm like, I have to make millions of dollars. Like, I think it was something along the lines to have lived a successful life, like what needs to happen. And that was on there, right? So what I'm getting at is clearly that is important to me in this lifetime. And yet, man, I went on telling that story. Now I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh, and yet, go ahead.
You were saying that you can testify that this new energy can stabilize, and that you were experiencing it as anxiety, and now.
Yeah, thank you. So, so what happened so the reason I'm saying that is because it's super important. This whole raising my money frequency is very important to me. Like, I'm guessing it's important to a lot of you. And it's something I've been working on for years and years and years. And I've read every book and I've done everything. And it's not that I haven't been making progress, but in working with Cynthia, what happened for me is that every time I would work with her, I would have almost like this euphoric sense, sort of the same thing that happens for those of you who get chiropractic adjustments, and like you leave the chiropractor's office and you're like walking on a cloud. But then the next day, or even sometimes that night, I had a really different experience, and it wasn't that I didn't feel good. It was that exactly what she's talking about, is that my body was feeling different, and that it wasn't feeling euphoric anymore, that I was having sensations in my body akin to like detoxing from, if you've ever done a cleanse and the first few days, like you're headachy or you don't feel good or you're emotional. It was like all of those things were happening, and it took me a while to recognize, oh, I'm shedding all of this, like it's coming up and it's working its way out, and I'm, like she's talking about, stepping up the stairway and integrating those higher energies. But just in the past few weeks, I really recognized, like looked around at my life and checked in with myself and been like, oh my gosh, I'm here now. I'm here, like I've integrated, and I'm not, I'm not up here yet, right? I have not yet received my royalty check for $2 million for my book that I'm launching, right? I haven't done that yet, but I feel myself stepping up the ladder, and I know from a place where just a few months ago, if I would have thought that thought, I would have wanted it with all my heart, but it would have been like this desperate thought. It's now that desperation has been completely cleared out, and I recognize like, oh, actually, I'm totally on the path to that. That's happening. So wanted to share that with you.
That's great. And I am just going to let you know that there are a lot of clients out there that are seeing their money a lot faster. You know, we're seeing money in the scope of 7,000, 10,000, 20,000. People who are able to just get rid of that thing that was blocking them are getting their money really quickly. So it just depends on where you are in your path and how much you have to, you know, clear up.
So what you're really saying is I'm a hot mess, and and I have a lot of stuff to work on. It's okay. Okay, Cynthia, what I want to do now, because we've just chatted on, and you guys, if you watch my show frequently, I'm a little bit, right, Mia Voss says bat crap crazy. Like, I'm a little bit bat crap crazy, but today I seem especially so. I think it is just because I'm really excited to share this, and whenever that happens, I start spinning out of control. But I do want to give Cynthia a chance to talk about a few things that she's got going on right now, and then whether she shares it or I share it, she has a special offer for you guys to experience her and her work. So, Cynthia, tell me what you have going on right now.
Well, three things you did mention. The free ebook, which, you know, I'll just show you the cover here. And you can go to www.healyourgrid.com and get your free download. And don't you have a guest coming up in a couple?
So that did not sound planned or contrived at all. Yes, I do, Cynthia. Jerry Eddington is going to be on the show on October 1st talking about a book launch that I think you are also a part of. Actually, I know you are because we kind of planned this exchange. Talking about a book launch that I would like you to share.
Yes, it's a book called Women of Social Media, and it's a compilation book that's being launched October 5th. And it's empoweredwomenofsocialmedia.com, and we're asking you guys to opt in and download the book. It's 99 cents on October 5th, and that has to do with social media, and that would be wonderful if you would do that. It's a really good book, all these women's stories of how they found their voice, and I just think that's very important, and I have a little story in there, so that'd be great. And
awesome.
Then,
I put myself on the screen, so hold on. Let me put you back. Okay, go for it.
Oh, I was just going to say, and then if anybody is interested in working, they can contact me at cyndia@healyourgrid.com, and we have a special promo for anybody who's watching this, and you can go to Carrie's page and check it out there after this is over.
So, Cynthia, let's you and I both post those links in the comment section. Oh, which, by the way, all of you who are watching and commenting, for some reason, I cannot get that darn comment tracker to work. So, Lisa Ingalls, you and I need to, I need another tutorial, I think, or somebody who's watching. Can you help me out? Because this is like the third week in a row. I think I have it working. It's not working. So, if you guys have been commenting, we will get back to you as soon as the show is over and answer all your comments. But I wanted to give Cynthia's link, which is healyourgrid.com/Carrie, and that will take her to the special offer for you guys who are watching the show. It is well worth your while to work with Cynthia. This is just not her asking me to plug her, but like I wanted to have her on my show for so long. I've actually been trying to get Cynthia to show me her magic on air, so we'll see if we can ever get her to do that. But it is it's really cool working with Cynthia and finding out the things that were blocking you. And it's so funny because if I had known that those things were blocking money, I would have let go of them a heck of a lot earlier. And this is something, I know I'm rambling again, but this is something that is, I think, so important, is that so many of us, me included, think I'll deal with that, or that problem will go away once I have money. Like that problem that I see right now, money's the solution. And I know intellectually we know we have to get there first. We have to like solve the problem to get the money or heal that part of ourselves to get the money. I'm just finding it overly true in the work with Cynthia that the more I heal that, the more I let go of that other thing that I thought money would solve the problem, the more the opposite is true. The more I heal that, the more money shows up. Rambling again. And I'm hearing my own echo. So on that note, I'm gonna call it a day. You guys, I have like sweaty armpits. My nose is sweating. Clearly, this is important stuff. Um, Cynthia, I'm putting your face on the screen one more time so people can see you laughing, and you could say just bye and thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And thank you, Carrie. You are a delight.
Oh, thank you. Delight is one way to say it. And I can't even mute her anymore because my buttons aren't working, so I'm hearing the feedback. But all I want to say is thank you for watching. Please download that book that Cynthia recommended, The Empowered Women of Social Media. It will be launching on October 5th. I will have Jerry Eddington, who is like a new social media goddess. She's really big into LinkedIn and is teaching me all sorts of things on the show. But yeah, we're all mompreneurs. We're all operating in this sphere of social media, and lots and lots and lots of us either want to be an author, have a book already, we want it to be a bestseller, and what I know for sure, quoting Oprah here, what I know for sure is that when you support somebody else who's trying to do the same thing you are going to do, it will come back to you. So if you want to launch a bestseller, grab that book. Not to mention that so many of the stories in there are inspiring, but so many of the women are connectors too. And you just never know how the magic of the universe will work. One person connects you to another, to another, to another. So get that book and connect with those women it's October 5th is the date, right?
Sunday the 5th.
Okay, perfect. So on that note, I'm going to let you all go. Thank you so much for watching. Great big virtual hug. Please continue the conversation below. Cindy and I will post about how to get a hold of us and each other. But yeah, we just are so grateful to spend this time with you. So thanks so much. See you next time.